George Foreman, the heavyweight champ, larger than life in every way, passed away today at the age of 76.
Fighting out of Livermore, California, weighing 226 pounds, introducing George Foreman.
At 61, George Foreman's wife opens up about his death, and it's bad.
Sad news out of the boxing world. George Foreman has passed away at the age of 76. Foreman's family announcing the news via Foreman's Instagram account.
George Foreman captivated the world with his extraordinary journey from the impoverished streets of Houston's Fifth Ward to Olympic gold medalist, two-time heavyweight champion, ordained minister, and finally, one of the most successful entrepreneur-pitchmen in American history. His infectious smile and positive attitude made him a beloved figure far beyond the boxing world. But now, in an emotional interview that has shocked fans worldwide, his wife, Mary Joan Martelly, has broken her silence about the boxing legend's final days and the devastating truth she's kept hidden until now. At 61, Mary Foreman appears remarkably composed as she sits down for what will become the most revealing conversation about her late husband's life and passing. Married to George for 35 years, she was the steady presence behind his later career renaissance and business empire. As she begins speaking, however, the carefully maintained composure briefly falters, offering a glimpse of the profound grief she still carries. "People think they knew George," she begins, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "They saw the boxer, the preacher, the businessman with the grill. But in those final months, we were living a completely different reality behind closed doors. It's time people understood what really happened." The revelation that follows contradicts much of what the public believed about Foreman's health and final chapter. According to Mary, the boxing legend's death wasn't the peaceful passing reported in initial statements. Instead, she describes a harrowing, extended battle with a condition directly linked to his boxing career, one that the family deliberately kept private at George's insistence. "George made me promise not to tell anyone until enough time had passed," she explains. "He didn't want his final battle to be fought in public or to have people remember him with pity. But keeping this secret has been its own kind of burden, and I think he'd understand why I'm speaking now." According to Mary, approximately 3 years before his death, Foreman began experiencing symptoms that initially seemed minor: occasional memory lapses, uncharacteristic mood changes, and moments of confusion. Given his age, neither they nor their doctors were immediately alarmed, but as symptoms progressed, more specialized testing revealed the devastating diagnosis: chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, the neurodegenerative disease associated with repeated head impacts.
Chronic traumatic encephalopathy is a neurodegenerative disorder. So it's a disease where the brain starts to deteriorate, and as it deteriorates, it builds up huge amounts of this protein in the form of what's called neurofibrillary tangles.
The doctor explained that all those punches, especially in his earlier career when he took more hits, had caused permanent damage, Mary recalls. What made it especially cruel was that George had been so careful about his health in later years, watching his diet, staying active, keeping his mind engaged. But this wasn't something he could fix with diet or exercise or positive thinking. This was damage that had been done decades ago, finally coming to collect its debt. What makes this revelation particularly stunning is how it contrasts with Foreman's public image in his final years. Unlike many former boxers who showed visible signs of their punishing careers, Foreman had maintained his articulate speech, sharp wit, and physical vitality well into his senior years. This apparent good health had made him boxing's great success story, the fighter who, unlike many of his contemporaries, seemed to have escaped the sport's most devastating long-term effects. That was all carefully managed, Mary admits with a sad smile. George became an expert at hiding his symptoms. He'd prepare meticulously for public appearances, memorizing talking points and practicing responses. We'd schedule interviews for his good days and cancel on bad days, claiming scheduling conflicts. He'd use his natural charm and humor to deflect when he lost his train of thought. Most people just thought he was being folksy, when in reality, he was fighting to remember what he'd been saying. Perhaps most heartbreaking is Mary's description of the daily reality they faced as the condition progressed. The man known for his boundless energy and optimism began experiencing dramatic personality changes, uncharacteristic anger, periods of depression, and increasing confusion. The symptoms would fluctuate, with days of clarity giving false hope before the fog would descend again. There were moments when he'd look at me and ask, "Who are you?" she recalls, her composure finally breaking. The first time it happened, I thought he was joking, but the confusion in his eyes. I realized my husband, my George, was slipping away even while he was still sitting right in front of me. Other days, he'd be completely himself, aware of everything, including his condition, which was almost harder because he understood what was happening to him. This cognitive decline was accompanied by increasingly severe physical symptoms. The hands that had once been powerful enough to knock out Joe Frazier developed tremors that Foreman would hide by keeping them in his pockets during appearances or by holding objects to stabilize them. His legendary physical strength gradually diminished until even routine tasks became challenging. The hardest part for George wasn't the physical decline, Mary explains. It was losing control of his mind. This was a man who had reinvented himself multiple times through sheer force of will, from street thug to Olympic champion, from feared puncher to beloved minister, from retired boxer to successful businessman. His mind had always been his greatest asset, even more than his physical strength. Watching that slip away broke something in him. According to Mary, Foreman's religious faith, a cornerstone of his identity since his famous conversion in 1977,
I love you guys because you're really standing with the Lord Jesus. I love that.
Was both challenged and strengthened during this final battle. She describes nights when he would question why God would allow this particular suffering after he had dedicated decades to ministry and helping others. Yet these crises of faith would be followed by periods of profound spiritual peace. He told me once, "Maybe this is my final sermon," Mary recalls. "Not one I'm preaching with words, but with how I face this ending." In his clearer moments, he found meaning in the suffering, seeing it as his last opportunity to demonstrate the faith he'd proclaimed all those years. He'd say, "Everyone faces something they can't punch their way out of eventually. This is mine." What Mary finds particularly painful is how this condition forced a man defined by his independence to become increasingly dependent on others. The boxer who had once seemed indestructible eventually needed help with basic daily activities. Their home was quietly modified to accommodate his changing needs, with family members and a small circle of trusted caregivers helping maintain the fiction of normalcy to the outside world. "We became experts at managing appearances," Mary admits. "If you saw George in his final 2 years, you were seeing him on one of his good days, carefully prepared and supported behind the scenes. The photos, the interviews, the public appearances, they were all choreographed to present the George everyone expected to see. Some days that required more effort than others, but he was determined not to let people see him diminished." This deception extended even to some family members. With 12 biological children plus several adopted children, Foreman's family is extensive.
A dedicated family man, he has 12 children, his 5 sons, each named George.
According to Mary, only their children still living at home, and a few of their adult children knew the full extent of his condition. Others were aware he was experiencing health challenges, but weren't privy to the complete diagnosis or prognosis. George was adamant about controlling who knew, she explains. He'd say, "I don't want pity, and I don't want to be remembered this way." He was thinking about his legacy until the end, not out of vanity, but because he believed his story of transformation and redemption had helped people. He didn't want that overshadowed by his final illness. The financial implications of Foreman's condition were significant as well. While the family had substantial resources from his business success, particularly the George Foreman grill that earned him over $200 million, the specialized care required was extremely costly. More importantly, Mary reveals that Foreman directed a substantial portion of his fortune toward establishing a foundation to support former boxers experiencing similar neurodegenerative conditions, many without the financial resources to access proper care. George kept saying, "I'm the lucky one," Mary recalls. "I can afford the best doctors, the best care, and I have family around me. Most fighters end up broke and alone." He was determined to change that reality for as many of his fellow boxers as possible. It became his final mission. Perhaps most shocking is Mary's revelation about the true timeline of Foreman's decline. While the public believed his health challenges were relatively brief, she describes a 7-year battle that began with subtle symptoms the family initially attributed to normal aging. By the time they received the definitive diagnosis, the condition was already advanced. Looking back, there were signs even earlier, she admits. Moments of uncharacteristic confusion or irritability that we dismissed. George was so physically strong, so mentally sharp, that it was easy to ignore the small changes. By the time we couldn't ignore them anymore, we were already fighting a losing battle. This extended timeline means that many of Foreman's later public appearances and business dealings occurred while he was already experiencing symptoms. Mary describes the enormous effort required to maintain his public persona during this period, with family members and trusted associates essentially forming a protective barrier around him. "It was like running a covert operation sometimes," she says, with a sad laugh. "We had signals and code words to help guide him through appearances. His children were amazing. They'd step in seamlessly when they saw him struggling, finishing his thoughts or gently redirecting conversations. Most people never noticed the handoffs because it all seemed so natural, just a close family interacting." The decision to finally share this truth wasn't made lightly. Mary describes months of reflection and consultation with family members before concluding that speaking openly about Foreman's condition might help others facing similar challenges. "George always used his struggles to inspire people," she explains. "His poverty, his career setbacks, his business failures before success, he shared them all because he believed that overcoming difficulty was his testimony. I think in time, he would want this final battle to serve the same purpose, especially if it helps other fighters get proper care or encourages more research into preventing these injuries." Mary hopes this revelation will lead to greater awareness about CTE and other neurodegenerative conditions affecting former boxers and football players. She has become an advocate for increased safety measures in boxing and expanded support services for retired fighters experiencing cognitive decline. "The sport gave George everything," she says. "It lifted him from poverty, gave him a global platform, and ultimately led to all his success. He loved boxing until the end. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't acknowledge its costs or work to make it safer." George would want that. The good of the fighters always came first for him. As the interview concludes, Mary offers one final reflection that captures the complexity of their experience. In those final days, even as his body and mind were failing, George's essential character, his kindness, his faith, his concern for others, remained intact. There were moments of clarity when he was completely himself, often focused on making sure everyone else was okay. That's who he really was, not the symptoms or the decline. That's who I want people to remember. For fans who cherish George Foreman's seemingly endless reinventions and apparent vitality into his senior years, this revelation fundamentally changes the narrative of his final chapter. Yet, in another sense, it adds a final layer of courage to the legacy of a man who repeatedly transformed personal struggles into inspiration for others. As Mary puts it, George always said his greatest victory wasn't any fight in the ring. It was changing from the angry young man he'd been to someone who could give back to others.
But remember, he loves China, and I love the USA. So, right there's a little bit of competitiveness.
This unexpected move raises eyebrows and questions about the future of electric vehicles and international trade.
Well, we did a great trade deal with China. We did it great for the farmers, great for manufacturers. They had to buy $50 billion worth of our product, and we were making them buy it.
What does this mean for BYD's ambitious plans in the US market? Buckle up as we dive into the details of this dramatic situation that has everyone talking. BYD's flying car breakthrough. Imagine a world where cars don't just drive on roads, but also soar through the skies. BYD, the innovative electric vehicle giant, is making that dream a reality with its flying car, known as the eVTOL. This remarkable vehicle combines the best of both worlds, offering the convenience of driving with the thrill of flying.
China unveiled its latest flying car. This is not science fiction, it's reality, with cutting-edge design and smooth aerodynamic line.
The eVTOL features cutting-edge technology that allows it to take off and land vertically, making it perfect for urban environments where space is limited. With its sleek design and eco-friendly electric propulsion, BYD is not just changing how we travel, they are also promoting a greener future. What sets the eVTOL apart is its potential to reduce traffic congestion in crowded cities. Imagine gliding over traffic jams and reaching your destination in a fraction of the time. This flying car could revolutionize urban transportation and open up new possibilities for commuters everywhere.
You're stuck in traffic on the way home for ages, you haven't moved, and then you just unfold your wings and take to the skies, to the jealousy of everyone below you.
BYD's CEO, Wang Chanfu, has been at the forefront of this ambitious project, believing that flying cars will play a significant role in the future of mobility. However, the journey hasn't been without challenges. Regulatory hurdles and safety concerns are key issues that need to be addressed before the eVTOL can take to the skies commercially.
Safety is our #1 priority in our aircraft, and hence we have incorporated all the safety requirements both of the European and the US regulators into our current battery pack design.
Despite these obstacles, BYD remains committed to pushing the boundaries of technology and innovation. With the eVTOL, they are not only envisioning the future of transportation, but also striving to make it a reality. Buckle up. The sky is the limit for BYD. The US ban. In a surprising move that has sent shockwaves through the automotive world, the US government announced a ban on BYD vehicles on American roads. This decision has left many, including BYD's CEO, stunned and baffled. What could have led to such a drastic action against one of the leading electric vehicle manufacturers? The ban raises several questions. Is it a safety concern, a response to geopolitical tensions, or perhaps a reflection of regulatory challenges? Whatever the reason, this unexpected decision puts a significant dent in BYD's plans to expand its innovative electric vehicle lineup in the US market, including the much-anticipated flying car, the eVTOL. For consumers, the ban means fewer choices in the growing electric vehicle market. BYD has been known for its affordable and eco-friendly cars, which have gained popularity worldwide.
Chinese automaker BYD is zipping ahead in the global race to make cheaper electric vehicles. BYD is flooding global markets with its EVs.
The absence of these vehicles in the US could slow the transition to cleaner transportation options. Moreover, the ban could have wider implications for international trade. As tensions rise between the US and China, companies like BYD find themselves caught in the crossfire. This situation could lead to a ripple effect, impacting not just BYD, but also other manufacturers looking to enter the lucrative US market. Shocking impact on BYD. The recent US ban on BYD vehicles has created a whirlwind of uncertainty for the company and its ambitious plans. As one of the largest electric vehicle manufacturers in the world, BYD has been on a mission to transform transportation. However, This unexpected ban has left many feeling shocked about what it means for the company's future. For starters, the ban puts a significant roadblock in BYD's path to entering the lucrative US market. With the buzz surrounding their innovative flying car, the eVTOL, this setback is especially disappointing. Many had high hopes that the eVTOL would revolutionize urban travel, allowing people to soar over traffic and reach their destinations faster. Now, those dreams are on hold. The impact extends beyond just the US market. BYD has built a reputation for producing affordable, eco-friendly vehicles around the globe. The ban raises concerns about how it might affect their relationships with other international markets, as potential partners may hesitate to collaborate with a company facing such regulatory challenges. Furthermore, the ban could also affect consumer perceptions. With many looking to switch to electric vehicles for a greener future, the absence of BYD's offerings means fewer choices for environmentally conscious buyers. As BYD navigates this unexpected turn of events, the company's leadership will be tested. They must find solutions to overcome this challenge while continuing to innovate and push the boundaries of electric transportation. The road ahead may be rocky, but BYD's commitment to sustainability and progress remains strong. Safety or politics? The recent ban on BYD vehicles in the US has sparked heated debates about whether the decision was driven by genuine safety concerns or if it's rooted in political motivations. At first glance, safety seems like a reasonable explanation. Governments are tasked with ensuring the safety of their citizens, and any vehicle that does not meet strict regulations raises red flags. However, many are questioning if there's more to the story. As tensions rise between the US and China, some experts believe this ban is part of a larger political game. BYD, being a Chinese company, finds itself in the middle of a complicated relationship between two powerful nations. Critics argue that the ban may be a strategic move to limit the influence of foreign companies in the American market, regardless of the quality or safety of their products. This situation creates a dilemma for consumers and industry leaders. On one hand, safety should always be a priority, ensuring that vehicles meet rigorous standards before hitting the roads. On the other hand, if the ban is politically motivated, it could unfairly restrict access to innovative and environmentally friendly technology that consumers are eager to embrace. BYD's eVTOL flying car. Imagine a future where cars can take to the skies, avoiding traffic jams and getting you to your destination in record time. BYD is making that dream a reality with its groundbreaking flying car, the eVTOL. This innovative vehicle combines cutting-edge technology with sustainable energy, promising to change the way we think about urban transportation. The eVTOL features a sleek design and is equipped with vertical takeoff and landing VTOL capabilities. This means it can lift off and land like a helicopter, making it perfect for crowded cities where space is limited.
Intended for 5 occupants. Each of these propulsion units is articulated to allow us to take off vertically, like a helicopter, then go through a transition phase, and then go wing-borne and fly like an airplane.
With its electric propulsion system, the eVTOL not only offers a thrilling flying experience, but also helps reduce our carbon footprint, an essential benefit in today's world. What sets the eVTOL apart is its potential to ease traffic congestion. Imagine gliding over gridlocked streets, arriving at your destination without the stress of being stuck in traffic. As cities continue to grow, the need for innovative solutions like the eVTOL becomes increasingly urgent. While the flying car is still in development, BYD's CEO, Wang Chanfu, is optimistic about its future. He envisions a world where flying cars could revolutionize how we travel, making urban commuting faster and more efficient. However, the journey to making the eVTOL a reality is not without challenges. Regulatory hurdles, safety standards, and public acceptance are all factors that need careful consideration. As BYD continues to push the boundaries of technology, the eVTOL could could be the key to unlocking a new era of transportation, where the sky truly is the limit. U.S. regulatory complexities. When it comes to introducing new technologies, especially something as revolutionary as flying cars, navigating U.S. regulatory complexities can feel like an uphill battle. The United States has strict rules in place to ensure the safety of all vehicles on the road and in the air. For companies like BYD, these regulations can pose significant challenges. The flying car, known as the eVTOL, presents a unique dilemma. It straddles two industries, automotive and aviation. Each sector has its own set of regulations designed to protect the public. For example, while cars must meet safety standards for driving, flying cars need to comply with aviation regulations, which are often more stringent.
Starting with the carbon fiber propellers, see that? Lightweight. This side has green lights, the other side has red lights.
This dual requirement means that BYD has to meet a wide range of safety criteria before the eVTOL can take to the skies. Moreover, the approval process can be lengthy and complicated. Many innovative vehicles face months, if not years, of testing and evaluations before they receive the green light. As regulators assess everything from design to performance, companies can become bogged down in paperwork and compliance checks, delaying their plans to bring new technologies to market. Public perception also plays a role. As flying cars become more mainstream, regulators must consider how the public feels about safety and noise concerns. To win approval, companies like BYD must not only meet technical standards, but also address community concerns. In this complex landscape, BYD's commitment to innovation will be key. If they can navigate these regulatory challenges, the eVTOL could become a game changer in urban transportation, leading the way for a new era in flying vehicles. Global expansion plans at risk. BYD, the trailblazer in electric vehicles, has ambitious plans for global expansion. With their innovative flying car, the eVTOL, set to revolutionize urban transportation, the company aimed to tap into markets worldwide. However, the recent U.S. ban on their vehicles has thrown a wrench in these plans, putting their international ambitions at serious risk. The United States is a crucial market for any automotive company. It represents not just a large customer base, but also a hub for technological advancements and regulatory standards. With the ban in place, BYD may find it challenging to gain traction in other regions. Potential partners in Europe, Asia, and beyond might hesitate to collaborate with a company facing such significant hurdles in a major market like the US. Moreover, the ban raises questions about how other countries will perceive BYD. If the US, known for its rigorous safety standards, has concerns about BYD's vehicles, other markets may follow suit. This could lead to increased scrutiny in countries that were previously eager to welcome BYD's innovative solutions. Yet, all is not lost. BYD has a strong presence in several countries and is known for its affordable, eco-friendly vehicles. The company can focus on strengthening its operations in markets where it is already established, like Europe and Asia, while working to address safety and regulatory concerns. As BYD navigates these turbulent waters, its ability to adapt and innovate will be crucial. The future of their global expansion plans hangs in the balance, but with determination, they could turn these challenges into opportunities. Economic and environmental setback. The recent U.S. ban on BYD vehicles, particularly their groundbreaking flying car, the eVTOL, has resulted in significant economic and environmental setbacks. For a company that has championed innovation and sustainability, this decision feels like a major blow to their vision for the future. From an economic standpoint, BYD had ambitious plans to expand its footprint in the U.S. market, which is one of the largest for electric vehicles. The absence of their cars means a loss of potential sales and revenue. This could also impact jobs, not only within BYD, but also in related industries, such as manufacturing and services that support electric vehicle infrastructure. The ripple effect of this ban could stifle growth, especially as the company was poised to lead the charge in sustainable transportation. On the environmental front, the ban hampers efforts to promote cleaner, greener technologies.